Before you can ever influence the energy of another person, you must first learn to master the energy within yourself. This is where true mental power begins. Most people spend their lives trying to change others, control situations, or force outcomes, never realizing that the greatest force in the universe is self-mastery. The moment you gain authority over your own emotions, your own reactions, your own thoughts, you begin to radiate a presence that others can feel without a single word being spoken. Think about the people you have met in life who naturally command attention. They do not always speak the loudest. They do not always try the hardest. In fact, many of them appear calm, centered, and completely at peace within themselves. That peace becomes power. Their emotional balance creates a magnetic field around them. Others unconsciously feel drawn toward their certainty because human beings are deeply affected by energy. Every thought you think carries a vibration. Every emotion sends a signal into the invisible field that connects all minds. When you allow anger, desperation, jealousy, fear, or insecurity to dominate your inner world, those emotions weaken your personal energy. Even if you try to hide them behind words or appearances, people can still sense them. Energy always speaks louder than language. But when you train yourself to remain calm under pressure, when you refuse to let negativity control your reactions, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop chasing approval. You stop forcing people to understand you. You stop giving away your power to external circumstances. Instead, you become emotionally grounded, and that grounded energy naturally influences the people around you. The law of attraction responds not only to what you say, but to what you consistently feel. If your inner world is filled with emotional chaos, then your outer relationships will reflect confusion and instability. But when your thoughts become disciplined and your emotions become balanced, you begin attracting different responses from people. They feel safer around you. They trust your presence more deeply. They become more receptive to your words because your energy no longer feels scattered or desperate. This is why emotional discipline is one of the greatest forms of mental power. Anyone can react emotionally. Anyone can lose control in moments of frustration. But very few people can remain peaceful when tested. Very few people can maintain dignity in moments of conflict. That kind of inner strength creates influence because it demonstrates mastery over the self. Imagine someone insulting you, criticizing you, or trying to provoke you emotionally. Most people react immediately. They defend themselves, argue, or try to prove their worth. But the person who truly understands mental power does something different. They remain centered. They observe instead of reacting. They choose silence over emotional chaos. And in that moment, they hold the true power because they are no longer controlled by external forces. When you stop reacting impulsively, your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become wiser, your presence becomes stronger. People begin to notice that you cannot easily be shaken, and that stability creates respect. Emotional control is not weakness. It is one of the highest forms of strength. You must also understand that confidence is deeply connected to inner peace. Real confidence does not come from trying to appear superior. It comes from knowing that your emotional state is not dependent on another person's approval. The moment your happiness depends entirely on someone else's behavior, you surrender your power. But when your peace comes from within, you become emotionally free. And there is something incredibly magnetic about emotional freedom. People are naturally attracted to individuals who feel whole within themselves. Why? Because that energy feels rare. Most of the world is searching for validation, attention, and emotional security. But the person who has learned to generate peace internally becomes a source of stability in a chaotic world. This is why you must protect your mind daily. Be careful about what you feed your consciousness. Negative conversations, constant complaints, fear-driven thinking, and emotional drama weaken your vibration over time. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you repeatedly plant inside it will eventually grow into your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that people ignore you, disrespect you, or fail to value you, your energy begins carrying those expectations. And unconsciously, you attract experiences that confirm those beliefs. But if you begin affirming calmness, self worth, confidence, and emotional balance, your energy shifts. The world starts responding differently because you are no longer operating from fear. Mental power is not about controlling another human being like an object. It is about becoming so aligned within yourself that your energy naturally influences the atmosphere around you. Your calmness can calm others. Your confidence can inspire others. Your emotional stability can transform relationships without force or manipulation. The greatest influence does not come from pressure, it comes from presence. And when you master your own inner world, you will discover that the energy you carry becomes more powerful than any words you could ever speak. The mind is one of the most powerful creative forces in existence, yet most people use it without awareness. They allow random thoughts, fears, doubts, and emotional reactions to move through their consciousness every day, never realizing that whatever the mind focuses on consistently begins to shape reality itself. Your attention is energy, and wherever energy flows repeatedly, results begin to appear. If you want to create stronger influence in your relationships and interactions, you must first understand the importance of focused intention. Intention is not wishful thinking. It is the deliberate direction of mental and emotional energy toward a specific outcome. When thought becomes clear and emotion becomes aligned with that thought, the signal you send into the universe becomes stronger. Most people think influence comes only through physical actions or spoken words, but long before words are spoken, energy has already entered the room. Human beings constantly respond to invisible emotional frequencies. You may have entered a room before and immediately sensed tension without anyone saying anything. Or perhaps you met someone who made you feel peaceful simply through their presence. This is because thoughts and emotions create energetic impressions that affect others on a subconscious level. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for directing this energy consciously. The imagination is not merely fantasy, it is a bridge between thought and reality. Every great achievement, every relationship, every creation first existed in the mind before it appeared in the external world. When you repeatedly visualize a desired outcome with emotional conviction, you begin conditioning both your subconscious mind and your energy field to move toward that experience. But there is an important secret that many people misunderstand. Visualization only becomes powerful when emotion is involved. A thought without feeling has little force behind it. Emotion is what energizes thought and gives it magnetic power. This is why fear creates such strong experiences in life. People imagine negative outcomes with intense emotion, and over time, they attract situations that mirror those fears. The same principle works in reverse when you intentionally cultivate positive emotional states. If you want someone to respond to you with respect, warmth, understanding, or connection, you must first feel those emotions within yourself as though they already exist. Close your eyes and imagine the interaction unfolding beautifully. See the conversation happening naturally. Feel the peace, confidence, and harmony within your body. Do not visualize from desperation or neediness. Visualize from certainty and emotional abundance. The subconscious mind cannot always distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and physical reality. This is why repeated visualization begins changing your internal state. Over time, your posture changes, your tone changes, your energy changes, and people begin responding differently because you are no longer operating from insecurity or emotional lack. Understand this clearly. People are influenced more by the energy behind your words than by the words themselves. You can say all the right things, but if your inner energy is filled with fear or desperation, others will sense it unconsciously. On the other hand, when your thoughts are focused and your emotions are balanced, even simple words carry greater impact. This is why repetition is important. The mind becomes conditioned through repeated thoughts and emotional patterns. If every day you tell yourself that you are worthy of respect, connection, and positive relationships, eventually your subconscious begins accepting this as truth. Your energy starts aligning with that belief, But if you constantly repeat thoughts of rejection, fear, or unworthiness, those patterns also become rooted deeply within you. Affirmations can become powerful when spoken with emotional certainty. Do not repeat empty phrases mechanically. Speak words that create feeling within you. Say them slowly. Feel them deeply. Let them enter your nervous system. The universe responds not only to language, but to vibration. You must also learn the art of mental clarity. Many people send mixed signals into life because their minds are divided. One moment they desire love, the next moment they fear betrayal. One moment they seek connection, the next moment they doubt themselves completely. Conflicting energy creates conflicting results. Clarity creates power. When your mind becomes focused on a positive outcome without constant inner contradiction, your energy becomes more coherent and magnetic. This does not mean forcing another person to lose their free will. It means aligning your own consciousness with the kind of relationship and interaction you wish to experience. The more emotionally balanced you become, the less you feel the need to manipulate anyone. You stop trying to control outcomes through pressure or emotional games. Instead, you trust the natural attraction created by your inner state. There is tremendous strength in this kind of quiet certainty. And remember this carefully. Desperation weakens manifestation. When you obsess over controlling another person's thoughts or actions, you create resistance within yourself. Fear pushes energy away, attachment creates tension. But when you release anxiety and trust your intention calmly, your energy becomes lighter, more open, and more attractive. This is why patience is part of mental power. The universe does not always respond instantly, but it always responds to consistent energy. Continue visualizing with peace. Continue strengthening your inner confidence. Continue focusing on the kind of emotional experience you want to create rather than obsessing over specific outcomes. The energy you hold repeatedly becomes the reality you eventually experience. And when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions move together in harmony, your presence begins influencing the world around you in ways far beyond what words alone can ever achieve. There is a silent form of power that very few people truly understand. Most individuals believe influence comes from speaking more, proving themselves constantly, or demanding attention from others. But real mental strength often reveals itself in the exact opposite way. It appears in stillness, it appears in patience, it appears in the quiet confidence of someone who no longer feels the need to force their presence upon the world. Look carefully at human behavior, and you will notice something fascinating. People are deeply affected by certainty. They are drawn toward individuals who appear emotionally secure within themselves. And one of the strongest signs of emotional security is the ability to remain calm and composed without constantly seeking validation. When a person talks excessively in order to impress others, they often reveal inner insecurity. When someone becomes desperate for attention, approval, or emotional reassurance, their energy begins to feel unstable. Others may not consciously understand why, but subconsciously they sense the imbalance. Energy always communicates before words do. But the person who has learned the power of silence carries a different presence. Their silence is not weakness. It is not fear. It is inner control. They understand that not every thought needs to be spoken, not every emotion needs to be displayed, and not every situation deserves a reaction. This creates mystery, depth, and emotional strength. Silence becomes powerful because it allows your energy to settle instead of scattering outward. Most people leak energy constantly through unnecessary explanations, emotional reactions, and endless attempts to control how others perceive them. But when you become comfortable with silence, you begin conserving your mental and emotional power. There is something deeply magnetic about a person who can sit peacefully within themselves without needing to dominate every conversation. They listen more carefully, they observe more deeply. And because they are not consumed by emotional noise, their words begin carrying greater weight when they finally choose to speak. Think about moments in your life when someone spoke very little, yet their presence felt incredibly strong. Perhaps they maintained calm eye contact. Perhaps they spoke slowly and clearly without rushing. Perhaps they did not react emotionally even in tense situations. That quiet stability created influence because emotional control naturally commands respect. The world conditions people to believe that louder means stronger. But true power rarely needs to announce itself. The ocean does not shout about its depth. The sun does not demand attention in order to shine. In the same way, a deeply centered human being influences others naturally through the energy they embody. This is why patience is essential. Impulsive reactions weaken your mental presence. When someone insults you and you react immediately, they gain control over your emotional state. When someone ignores you and you panic internally, your peace becomes dependent on external behavior. But when you remain calm and emotionally balanced, you demonstrate mastery over yourself. Patience creates psychological strength because it signals certainty. A person who trusts their own value does not rush for validation. They do not beg for attention. They do not desperately chase responses from others. Instead, they allow life to unfold while remaining rooted within themselves. And this inner rootedness changes your body language in powerful ways. Confidence is communicated physically long before words are spoken. The way you walk, the way you sit, the way you hold eye contact, the pace of your movements, all of these reveal your inner emotional state. When the mind is anxious, the body becomes restless. When the mind is fearful, the eyes avoid connection. When the mind seeks approval, the voice loses certainty. But when you cultivate inner peace, the body naturally reflects calm confidence. Your movements become intentional. Your gaze becomes steady. Your speech becomes slower and more meaningful. Eye contact, especially, carries tremendous energetic influence. Many people avoid eye contact because they fear being truly seen. But when you can look at another person calmly, without aggression or insecurity, you create a powerful energetic connection. It communicates presence, awareness, and self assurance. At the same time, true confidence never becomes arrogance. Arrogance is often insecurity hiding behind superiority. Real confidence feels relaxed. It does not need to prove itself. It does not compete for attention because it already feels complete within itself. This is why emotionally strong people do not become controlled by the opinions of others. They listen without becoming emotionally shaken. They accept criticism without collapsing internally. They understand that their value does not rise or fall based on external approval. And once you stop seeking validation desperately, something extraordinary happens. People begin noticing your energy more naturally. Why? Because emotional independence is rare. Most individuals unconsciously chase emotional certainty from the outside world. But when someone generates peace internally, they become deeply attractive on an energetic level. Never underestimate the power of emotional restraint. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. Sometimes silence communicates more than explanation ever could. When you stop reacting impulsively, you gain the ability to choose your energy consciously rather than being controlled by circumstances. This does not mean suppressing emotions in an unhealthy way. It means becoming aware enough to respond intentionally instead of reacting unconsciously. There is a profound difference between emotional repression and emotional mastery. One creates inner tension, the other creates inner freedom. The more comfortable you become within your own presence, the less you feel the need to force connections, control people, or seek constant reassurance. Your energy begins speaking for you naturally. Others feel your stability. They feel your calmness. They feel your confidence even in silence. And in a world filled with noise, emotional chaos, and endless need for attention, the person who has mastered calm presence becomes impossible to ignore. Because true mental power is not found in controlling the room with volume. It is found in controlling yourself with silence. The greatest misunderstanding about mental power is the belief that it means dominating another human being. Many people become fascinated with the idea of controlling minds, influencing emotions, or gaining authority over someone else's thoughts. But true power does not come from domination. True power comes from alignment. It comes from understanding that the energy you carry within yourself shapes the experiences you attract and the way others respond to your presence. When your intentions are rooted in fear, manipulation, jealousy, or control, your energy becomes heavy and conflicted. Even if you achieve temporary influence over someone, it will never create genuine peace or lasting connection. Fear may create obedience for a moment, but it cannot create trust. Manipulation may create attachment, but it cannot create love. Only positive and aligned energy can create relationships that feel natural, harmonious, and deeply fulfilling. The law of attraction responds to the emotional frequency behind your intentions. This is why two people can perform the same action but receive completely different results. One person may speak kindly while secretly carrying insecurity and fear. Another person may speak with sincerity, warmth, and emotional clarity. The words may sound similar, but the energy behind them is completely different, and people feel that difference instinctively. Human beings are far more intuitive than they realize. On a subconscious level, people constantly sense whether your presence feels safe or threatening, peaceful or chaotic, authentic or manipulative. This is why positive influence always begins with purity of intention. Before you ask yourself how to influence another person, ask yourself what kind of energy you are bringing into the connection. If your desire comes from loneliness, desperation, or the need to control outcomes, your energy becomes tense. Tension creates resistance. The harder you try to force someone emotionally, the more disconnected the relationship often becomes. But when your intention is rooted in understanding, compassion, confidence, and inner peace, your energy softens. And softness is not weakness. Softness creates openness. It allows trust to grow naturally. People are naturally drawn toward those who make them feel emotionally safe. Think about the individuals you feel most comfortable around in life. Usually, they are not people who pressure you constantly or try to dominate your mind. They are people whose presence allows you to relax. Their energy feels accepting. Their attention feels genuine. Around them, you feel seen rather than controlled. This is the kind of influence that carries real power. The ability to inspire rather than manipulate. The ability to uplift rather than dominate. The ability to create emotional harmony instead of emotional fear. You must understand that every thought you repeatedly hold about another person affects the energy between you. If you constantly think thoughts of suspicion, anger, resentment, or insecurity, those emotions begin shaping the invisible dynamic of the relationship. Even if nothing is spoken openly, the energy becomes heavier. But when you intentionally cultivate thoughts of respect, peace, patience, and understanding, the connection begins shifting naturally. This does not mean tolerating harmful behavior or abandoning your boundaries. Positive influence is not about becoming weak or passive. In fact, emotionally healthy boundaries are part of strong energy. When you respect yourself deeply, others begin respecting you more naturally as well. The key is to protect your peace without allowing negativity to poison your inner world. Most people underestimate the importance of empathy. Yet empathy is one of the most magnetic forces in human connection. When someone feels truly understood by you, their resistance begins dissolving. Human beings crave emotional understanding more than almost anything else. Often, people behave negatively because they themselves are carrying fear, pain, insecurity, or emotional confusion. When you learn to see beyond surface behavior, your reactions begin changing. Instead of reacting impulsively, you become more aware. You begin responding with greater wisdom and emotional intelligence. And this emotional maturity creates influence because calm understanding disarms emotional conflict. The strongest people are not those who create fear in others. The strongest people are those who remain rooted in compassion without losing themselves. Compassion is not surrender. Compassion is awareness. It is the ability to remain connected to your higher consciousness even in difficult situations. At the same time, you must never lose your individuality in the process of seeking connection. Positive influence does not require abandoning your authenticity in order to please others. In fact, authenticity itself is deeply powerful. People trust energy that feels real. When you stop pretending, stop performing, and stop chasing approval, your natural energy becomes stronger. This is why self love is essential, not ego, not arrogance, but genuine inner respect. When you value yourself internally, you stop depending entirely on others to confirm your worth. And paradoxically, this emotional independence makes your energy more attractive. The universe mirrors the relationship you have with yourself. If you constantly criticize yourself internally, you project insecurity outward. But when you treat yourself with patience, compassion, and dignity, you begin radiating a calmer and more balanced presence. Others unconsciously respond to the way you feel about yourself. Always remember this: your energy enters every room before your words do. Long before conversations begin, people are already responding to your emotional frequency. This is why inner alignment matters so deeply. A peaceful mind creates peaceful interactions. A loving heart creates warmth in relationships. A confident spirit creates natural attraction. And when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions become aligned with positivity instead of control, you stop trying to force influence, because your presence itself becomes the influence.